With a net worth of over $330 million, Dave Grohl, the former drummer of Nirvana, could afford to buy more than $300 million mansions, charter a private Boeing 737 to fly around the world for years on end, or even build an entire city dedicated solely to recording studios. But few people know that this man once slept in a van during freezing winters, was forbidden by his father to play music due to poor grades, and went through a period of infidelity, faced scandal over fathering a child out of wedlock, and even considered giving up music entirely after Kurt Cobain's death. Yet it was he who went on to build the mighty Foo Fighters empire and rose to become one of the most influential musicians of our time. What helped Dave Grohl defy the odds, emerging from the shadows into the spotlight, transforming from a nobody into the world's most inspiring rock icon? Let's dive into the incredible life story and almost unbelievable luxury lifestyle of Dave Grohl. If you've ever seen Dave Grohl stand tall on stage before a roaring sea of fans, you should also know there was a time when all he wished for was a hot meal, and to play drums without his mom making him stop for being too loud. Dave Grohl was born on January 14, 1969, in Warren, Ohio. When he was 3, his family moved to Springfield, Virginia. At 6, his parents divorced. His father, James Grohl, walked away. His mother, Virginia, a high school teacher, was left to raise 2 kids alone in tough circumstances. Their house wasn't the kind of place you'd look forward to coming home to after a long day. The walls were moldy from the damp. The heating sputtered through the winter. And sometimes, the fridge held nothing but a few stale slices of bread. But the material hardship wasn't the worst part. The deeper pain was the feeling of being held back. Dave discovered his passion for music early on, but his father, a communications specialist, once looked him straight in the eye and said, "Music is not a career, it's a hobby." Those words cut deep, like a knife through his passion. Whenever Dave turned the volume up just a little, he was scolded. When his grades slipped because he was too focused on music, his mother had no choice but to ban even the guitar. While Bruce Springsteen grew up with parents who were poor but stable in New Jersey, Dave had to find his way through the wreckage of a broken family. He didn't read textbooks. He listened to punk rock. He didn't do homework. He spent his nights pounding on pillows, pretending they were drums. With no one to teach him, he learned guitar by sheer imagination. While his friends played sports, Dave locked himself in his room, wore headphones, and played along to the sounds of the Ramones. At age 10, Dave joined his first amateur band, the H.G. Hancock Band. Just a bunch of kids with a busted amp and a worn-out guitar. But it was the first time Dave felt like he truly belonged somewhere. By 17, he made a bold decision to drop out of school and join the punk band Scream. The band roamed around in a beat-up van, 6 guys sleeping on top of one another. Some days, they shared a single bag of expired bread over 3 days. Once, Dave had to sleep under a stage because their van got flooded and they had nowhere else to go. He worked at Tower Records, hauling vinyl, mopping floors, stacking shelves, just to make enough to go on tour. No home, no money, nothing but a burning passion. Dave wasn't just poor in a material sense. He was starved for belief from adults. His teachers gave up on him because of his failing grades. His classmates thought he was that weird kid who liked to smash things. Even his mother, who loved him dearly, didn't dare to hope that this punk-obsessed boy could ever become anything. Dave once recalled, "I thought I'd die a record store clerk, playing in a garage band, and never be remembered." Part of him accepted that fate, but another part kept quietly burning. At his first gig with Scream, Dave was just 17, but he played drums like it was his last chance to ever do it. He played with wildness, fury, and madness, as if every beat was a punch thrown at those who ever doubted him. Once, their van broke down in the middle of a snowy night. With no money to fix it, the band had to sleep outside, wrapped in worn blankets, waiting for dawn. Dave clutched his drums like a treasure, because they were the only things he truly owned. In those years, Dave lived what he called the art of struggling. He ate bread with mayonnaise, wore the same old coat through 3 winters, taped up the soles of his shoes with duct tape when they fell apart, and still performed, giving it his all every single night. But that period forged something many rockers never have: humility. Because Dave had walked through dirt, played bare-handed when he couldn't afford new drumsticks, and stood backstage shivering from hunger. Yet he never complained. He believed music would take him somewhere, not to fame, but to live fully as himself. Looking back, maybe the most surprising thing about Dave Grohl isn't that he succeeded, but that he didn't give up, even when everything told him he should. So what happened when Dave finally joined Nirvana, the band that would change rock history? How did an unknown drummer become a living legend? The next chapter will give you the answer. April 1994. Kurt Cobain died by suicide. The world was shaken. Fans wept in silence. The media reported relentlessly. Nirvana, the symbol of an entire generation, had officially disbanded. While all eyes were fixated on that tragic ending, in a quiet corner, the band's drummer, Dave Grohl, remained completely silent. No one knew where he was. No statements, no interviews. Many thought he would disappear along with Nirvana. But no one expected that. His silence would be the beginning of an extraordinary comeback. Just a year later, Dave Grohl, the guy who once played drums in a van, who once considered quitting music to open a diner, signed a $1 million record deal, played every instrument himself, and built a music empire in his own name. Back in 1990, Dave Grohl joined Nirvana, a band slowly rising in Seattle's grunge wave. From a kid who slept in vans and ate stale bread, Dave was suddenly thrust into a world of top-tier recording studios, sold-out shows with tens of thousands of fans, and songs powerful enough to change music history. And they did. In 1991, Nevermind was released, and became one of the most explosive albums in rock history. Smells Like Teen Spirit echoed across radio stations, on MTV, in every record store. It turned garage band kids into global icons. The album sold over 30 million copies, an unfathomable number at the time. Money started pouring in. Tour tickets sold out within hours. Fees skyrocketed. But for Dave, fame wasn't easy to digest. He had never dreamed of being famous. He used to live on instant noodles and play drums with his hands because he couldn't afford sticks. Now, hundreds of fans swarmed him for autographs every time he stepped out of a hotel. Despite the fame, Dave held on to his old lifestyle. Faded t-shirts, writing music in hotel bathrooms to avoid disturbing others. Inside, he felt a hollowness, like he was living someone else's dream. While the world praised Nirvana, Dave felt like he was slowly being pulled into a dead-end journey. Kurt Cobain was sinking deeper into depression, addiction, and detachment. The tours became a way to escape reality. Dave, quiet and introspective, watched in silent pain. April 1994. Kurt Cobain took his life. Nirvana ended, and Dave Grohl said nothing. He put away his drums. He stopped writing. he stopped performing. He later shared, "I really thought I was done. Maybe I'd open a little restaurant or do something normal, but definitely not music." Music had once saved him, but now it hurt every time he heard it. Friends worried, record labels called. Dave ignored them all. Until one day, in late 1994, he walked alone into Robert Lang's studios in Seattle. Alone. In just 6 days, Dave played drums, guitar, bass, recording everything himself. No producer, no team, just him. He named the project Foo Fighters and deliberately left his name off the demo, so people wouldn't dismiss it as just the Nirvana drummer's solo project. But what no one expected happened. Labels fought over the demo. RCA Records signed Foo Fighters with a $1 million advance, a huge deal for a debut project with no name recognition attached. In July 1995, the debut album was officially released. From then on, Dave was no longer Nirvana's drummer. He became the frontman of a new band, a new chapter. Foo Fighters grew from a personal project into a national rock powerhouse. 11 studio albums, over 30 million records sold, 12 Grammy Awards, countless sold-out tours across North America, Europe, and Asia. Between 2017 and 2020 alone, Foo Fighters tours grossed over $100 million, according to Pollstar and Forbes. Even more impressive, Dave owns 100% of Foo Fighters' recording rights, a rare feat in the music industry. No shared profits, no lost control. Dave is both the artist and the architect of his empire. While Courtney Love spent years in lawsuits to protect Kurt's legacy, Dave quietly built one of his own. No scandals, no public fights, just music, faith, and the long climb out of darkness. Compared to Chris Novoselic, Nirvana's bassist, who largely stepped back from the spotlight, Dave kept performing, writing, and inspiring. Every beat, every riff was a tribute to the hardship he once endured. Today, Dave doesn't just have passion. He has financial freedom, creative control, and a net worth in the hundreds of millions. From a boy who once split expired bread with 5 others in a van, Dave now owns multi-million-dollar mansions, a private recording studio in Los Angeles, and a luxury car collection that reflects his unique spirit. How did the kid who once banged on pillows become the mastermind of a rock empire? How did he go from poverty to owning mansions and living the dream life millions only wish for? The next chapter will reveal it all. Every house, every car, and every bold choice that defines the world of Dave Grohl. From drumsticks made of pillows to a private villa, from shared bread loaves to a private jet for world tours, Dave Grohl's journey proves that wealth isn't just about money, but about living true to who you are. Let's step into the uniquely personal world of this artist, where every brick, every car, every dish tells a chapter of a story that's impossible to forget. Encino Villa, the living space of a free spirit. Tucked away in the San Fernando Valley, Dave Grohl's Encino Villa, purchased in 2003 for $2.2 million, now valued at over $7 million, is a world far removed from the glitz of Hollywood. No gold-plated walls, no opulent crystal chandeliers. Yet the moment you step inside, you'll hear the echoes of music from every corner. Spanning over 8,000 square feet on 2 lush acres, the home includes 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a shimmering pool under the California sun, and 2 cozy fireplaces for winter nights. But the most special thing isn't the size, it's the feeling. This isn't the mansion of an arrogant rock star. It feels more like a rustic farmhouse, where Dave sits on a wooden chair, strumming a guitar for his 3 daughters, Violet, Harper, and Ophelia, while the scent of barbecue drifts through the backyard air. Picture this: in a Hollywood landscape dotted with the lavish castles of Leonardo DiCaprio or Beyoncé, Dave chose a place that doesn't show off, but overflows with memories. He once told Rolling Stone, "I bought this house because it reminds me of where I grew up, not to show off, but to live." There was a time he hosted a BBQ for hundreds of friends, from Paul McCartney to humble neighbors. And as the sun set, Dave sat alone, watching the fading light over the roof, as if composing a new song in his head. This is where he found true freedom, not in wealth, but in his soul. Studio 606, a sanctuary of analog sound. While other rockers spend millions on yachts or mansions, Dave Grohl made an unexpected investment: an old warehouse in Northridge, California. In 2004, he bought it for under $1 million and transformed it into Studio 606, an analog music sanctuary in the digital age. At its heart is the legendary Neve 8028 console from Sound City Studio, a piece of rock history where Nirvana once left its mark. Dave didn't just buy it, he rescued it from obscurity, just like he saved himself after 1994. To him, it's not just a piece of equipment, it's the soul of authentic sound, unpolished, unfiltered, and real. Studio 606 isn't for hire. It's the Foo Fighters' private creative ground, where all 11 of their studio albums, from In Your Honor to But Here We Are, were born. But imagine this. One day, Paul McCartney walks in, picks up a bass, and starts jamming with Dave, 2 legends laughing like kids in a garage band. In the 2013 documentary Sound City, Dave said, "I don't need modern technology. I need something alive, something that breathes." And that's what Studio 606 is, a living asset, valued not in dollars, but in the notes that changed the world. The guitar collection, a diary, written in strings. If family is Dave Grohl's heart, then his guitar collection is a vivid diary, where each string tells a story, each scratch holds an unforgotten memory. Take the white Gibson Firebird Studio, bold design, a roar like a lion, echoing through stadiums packed with tens of thousands. Valued at $6,000 to $8,000 on the market, but for Dave, it's the fire of youth, a reminder of his earliest drum beats made on pillows. Then there's the Epiphone Hummingbird, a $700 acoustic classic, but when Dave strums it in the quiet of his Encino home, you can hear the sorrow of post-Nirvana days or the joy when his daughter sings along. But the crown jewel is the Gibson Trini Lopez 2014, a rare prototype from the 60s with signature diamond-shaped sound holes. Worth up to $15,000, this guitar helped Dave write hits like Everlong and Learn to Fly. He calls it his friend that never betrays, and indeed, it stayed with him through long nights of writing under dim lights. Unlike Mick Jagger or Keith Richards' guitars kept behind glass, Dave plays his every day. He once told Guitar World, "I don't buy guitars to show off. I play them to remember. Every scratch is a song I haven't finished yet." This collection isn't just an asset, it's his life, written in strings. The 1965 Ford Falcon van, memories that don't need polish. When you spot Dave Grohl driving a battered silver van down Sunset Boulevard, don't mistake it for some rocker quirk. It's a 1965 Ford Falcon van, his companion during the toughest days with the band Scream. Over 50 years old, it has no GPS, no power seats, no AC, just the smell of old engine oil and rust patches that tell stories of survival. Dave once slept curled up in the back seat, splitting instant noodles with 5 other bandmates, tapping rhythms with bare hands when his drum kit broke. Now, even with the means to fill a garage with Lamborghinis, Dave keeps the van, unpainted, unrestored. He once told car and driver, "It's the one thing that reminds me who I used to be, just a kid with a dream." While Axl Rose flaunts shiny supercars, Dave chooses to preserve memories, the kind of wealth no money can buy. Tesla Model S P100D, a rocker's burst of speed. A stark contrast to the vintage van, the Tesla Model S P100D is the fastest ride in Dave Grohl's garage. With ludicrous mode, it launches from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2.5 seconds, fast enough for the wind to scream like an electric guitar solo. Dave once laughed in an interview with Motor Trend, "Driving it feels like playing a lightning riff, powerful, wild, and makes your heart race." Valued over $130,000. But for Dave, it's not about flashy tech like Elon Musk's showmanship. It's how a classic rocker lives in the modern world, not just fast on stage, but on the winding roads of LA. As he drives it with a grin, you see someone who once pedaled a rusty bike, now holding the future's speed in his hands. Tesla isn't just a car, it's a symbol of forward motion. Tour jet, freedom among the stars. When Foo Fighters take on international stages, from Wembley in London to Brazil's Maracana, they don't tour by bus anymore. They fly private chartered planes, like the Boeing 737. Dave doesn't own a private jet like Steven Tyler's multi-million-dollar aircraft, but he and the band regularly rent them for global tours, each flight costing up to $50,000. Don't expect gold interiors or champagne service. On board, you'll find Dave in a quiet corner, strumming an acoustic guitar, scribbling lyrics in a smudged notebook, or joking with Taylor Hawkins like 2 kids on a school bus. He told NME, "I don't need a plane to feel like a star. I need it to bring music everywhere." For Dave, it's not just transportation. It's wings of freedom, lifting him from van nights to spotlighted stadiums. Backbeat BBQ, when grilling becomes giving. Few would expect that Dave Grohl, rock legend, is also a BBQ pitmaster, not for profit, but to warm hearts. He founded Backbeat BBQ, a charity fueled by literal sweat. Imagine, during California's devastating 2018 wildfires, with smoke blanketing the sky, Dave stood 16 hours at a giant grill, drenched in sweat, hands blackened with soot, cooking hundreds of meals for exhausted firefighters. No hired chefs, just him, from dusk till dawn, smiling at every tired hero he fed. He told Esquire, "I grew up sharing stale bread, sometimes with nothing to eat. Now, if I can give someone a hot meal, whether they're a firefighter or homeless, I'll do it." Unlike Hollywood's glamorous galas, Backbeat BBQ is a fire of compassion, an immeasurable gift Dave gives the world. A lifestyle that doesn't need flash. Dave Grohl doesn't chase artificial spotlight. No gold-plated mansions like Kanye West. No chrome-wrapped supercars like Jay-Z. No Instagram yachts like Bono. While Axl Rose owns dozens of properties, yet often goes missing in key moments, Dave lives with uncanny closeness. He drives his Tesla through LA with his daughter beside him, wearing a worn Nirvana t-shirt, chatting with fans like they're old friends. He told The Guardian, "I don't need to live like a king. I just want to live like Dave." He doesn't pretend to be down to earth. He never left his roots. And that authenticity makes his wealth all the more meaningful. Conclusion: wealth isn't a destination. It's how you walk the path. If you ask what Dave Grohl's most valuable asset is, don't look at the Encino Villa, Studio 606, or the lightning-fast Tesla. It's his ability to live fully, from a kid banging on pillows to a man on stage before thousands with an unbroken heart. He didn't just rise from poverty. He rose without losing himself, without letting money dull who he truly is. Think about this. While many stars spend millions to prove they're rich, Dave spends hours barbecuing for strangers, using every note to connect the world. To him, wealth isn't the goal, it's how he walks the journey. And that, perhaps, is the real pinnacle of a life well lived. A lesson for all of us. No one walks past the spotlight without casting a shadow. For Dave Grohl, often dubbed the nicest guy in rock, the glow of fame can't completely obscure the ordinary moments where missteps, conflict, and mistakes exist as inevitable parts of being human. Though rarely controversial, Dave has experienced moments that took the public by surprise. But what truly sets him apart is how he handles them. Calmly, honestly, and without ever losing his kindness. Feud with Courtney Love, a 2-decade-long Cold War. After Kurt Cobain's death, Dave didn't just lose his closest friend, he became entangled in a legal battle that lasted nearly 20 years, with Courtney Love, Kurt's widow. In 2001, Courtney sued Dave and Krist Novoselic for control over Nirvana's estate, particularly the rights to unreleased recordings. What followed was a bitter tug-of-war fought through lawyers, tabloids, and scathing remarks. The tension peaked in 2002 when Dave performed All My Life at the Reading Festival, a song widely interpreted as a veiled shot at Courtney. He never named her, but the meaning was clear. It wasn't until 2014, during Nirvana's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that the hostility finally cooled. On stage, Dave extended a hug to Courtney. No more anger, no more winning or losing, just one embrace, enough to bring quiet closure to years of silent war. Infidelity and divorce, when promises are broken. Dave married photographer Jennifer Youngblood in the mid-1990s, but the marriage ended abruptly after just 3 years. The reason? He had an affair with someone in the music industry, rumored to be Louise Post, singer of Veruca Salt. The split didn't just cost him his marriage, it sent ripples through his band. Pat Smear, close friend and Foo Fighters guitarist, quietly stepped away for nearly a decade. There were no accusations, but the silence spoke volumes. Dave never offered excuses. He simply withdrew, stayed quiet, and gradually chose a more private life. Since then, he has remained devoted to his second wife, Jordan Blum, a quiet, lasting gesture of redemption. A daughter out of wedlock, a new fracture on a kind-hearted image. In 2024, a photo went viral showing Dave Grohl walking with a teenage girl who bore an uncanny resemblance to him. Days later, Dave confirmed, she is his daughter, from a relationship outside of his marriage. No one made a public statement, but tabloids quickly reported that Jordan Blum, his wife, was deeply hurt. Their marriage didn't end, but the distance was palpable. Dave offered no justifications. He simply said, "I'm not perfect, but I will take responsibility the way a man should." No cover-ups, no blame, no dramatizing the situation. He just kept living and kept being a father as fully as he could. The difference: when scandal doesn't become a show. Axl Rose once trashed hotel rooms in fits of rage. Courtney Love publicly slammed colleagues on live television. In an entertainment world rife with scandal, Dave Grohl chose a different path. He owned his mistakes without trying to repaint his image. He didn't parade his family for public sympathy. He didn't launch PR campaigns to apologize. He simply kept making music, using his passion as a way to make peace with the past. And that's what sets him apart. Not flawless, but always strong enough to start over. People say the most beautiful light is the kind that shines through the cracks. Dave Grohl understands this better than most. He has stumbled, he has hurt others, and he has let scandal dim the image of the good guy he's known to be. But he never ran from it. What makes him beloved isn't that he never fell. It's that he always stood back up, knew when to be silent, and never stopped being true to himself. And perhaps scandal doesn't define Dave. What he has done for music, for the community, and for those around him, that's what will endure. Dave Grohl doesn't need a red carpet to prove his worth. He doesn't need shocking statements, nor does he need to top the trending charts. He lets the music speak for itself. More than that, he lets the quiet things he does, not for fame, but because they're simply the right thing, become what earns people's respect. Over more than 3 decades in the industry, Dave has earned 16 Grammy Awards, 12 of which were with Foo Fighters, the band he founded on his own after the tragedy of Nirvana. The song Everlong, a love song with a fierce melody, was once described by Billboard as rock music's most beautiful whisper of the 90s. He's also been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, a rare honor in music history. Beyond performing, Dave directed 2 standout documentaries, Sound City and Sonic Highways. These weren't flashy commercial projects, but personal musical journeys, capturing the emotion, stories, and spirit of the places that shaped American music. Unlike many artists who invest in stocks or tech, Dave poured both his money and heart into music, something he believes in completely. Studio 606 isn't just a recording space, it's a sanctuary preserving the soul of analog sound. It was also here that Dave found solace after the sudden death of his close friend and drummer, Taylor Hawkins, in 2022. He didn't seek therapy. He didn't appear in the media. He simply went into the studio and recorded. Many invest to make a profit. Dave invests to keep going. But what makes him special isn't just found in the records. It's also in the way he lives beyond the spotlight. In 2023, Dave participated in the Big BBQ Bash, a charity event for the homeless. For nearly 20 hours, he personally grilled meat, packed meals, and served like a seasoned chef. No PR, no live streams, just gratitude and the warmth of human connection. He once said, "I used to split sandwiches in a van. Now, if I can give someone a hot meal, I'll do it. And I'll do it again. And again." Compared to other stars of his era, like Bono with his multi-million-dollar yacht, or Kanye West who turns social media into a display of extravagance, Dave chooses a different path. He stays grounded. He doesn't need noise to prove his place. He still drives an old Ford, plays a scratched-up guitar, and walks his daughters to school every morning. Success never made him forget who he is. On the contrary, it made him hold on to his roots like something sacred. If there's one legacy Dave Grohl leaves behind, it's not platinum albums or gleaming trophies. It's how he lives when he steps off stage. Still humble, still kind, still true to himself. From a poor kid sleeping in a van to a man who inspires people around the world, Dave didn't just rise. He did something far rarer.